A child wakes in darkness. The bedroom is so cold, breath hangs in the air like smoke. On the window, ice has formed. Not outside, inside. This was Britain, every winter, for generations. This was simply normal. Beautiful patterns, deadly cold. The condensation from sleeping breath froze overnight. Children traced pictures in the frost with fingertips. By morning, the glass was thick with ice. Some bedrooms were colder than the garden outside. 1960. Only 5% of British homes had central heating. 5 in every 100. The rest relied on coal fires. One fire, one warm room. The rest of the house stood cold and empty. The living room fire was the heart of every home, the only source of warmth. Families clustered around the hearth like moths to a flame. Step 3 feet away, and the cold wrapped around you like a shroud. Every morning began the same. Someone had to rise first, light the fire, kneel on cold linoleum, crumple newspaper, arrange kindling, strike a match, wait, hope, pray the flame would catch before fingers went numb. 70% of British homes still relied on coal in 1963. The coal fire demanded constant attention, feeding, raking, clearing ash. A fire left unattended would die, and with it, all warmth in the house. The coalman came weekly. 10 tons delivered each day. Hundredweight sacks on blackened shoulders. Down narrow passages, through back gates, into coal bunkers and cellars. His face permanently darkened, his back permanently bent. Coal was measured carefully. A few shillings per hundredweight. Too little and the fire would die before payday. Too much and the family went hungry. Coal was currency. Coal was survival. Coal was everything in winter. Children learned to dress beneath the blankets, pull clothes under the covers at night. In morning, wriggle into them without leaving the warmth. Socks first, then vest, then everything else. Never expose bare skin to the air. 4 blankets minimum, sometimes 6. Heavy woolen layers that pressed down on sleeping bodies, and eiderdown on top. The weight was immense. But weight meant warmth. Without central heating, blankets were the only defense. The stone pig. A stoneware bottle filled with boiling water, wrapped in flannel, placed at the foot of the bed. By morning, it was cold as ice. But those first hours of warmth made sleep possible. Some families used heated bricks, warmed in the oven all day, wrapped in old towels, tucked beside children's feet. The brick held heat for hours, a simple solution from a simpler time. Warmth from the earth itself. Rubber hot water bottles replaced the stone pigs. Lighter, easier to fill. But dangerous if they leaked. Scalded legs were common. Every family had stories. The rubber perished. The stopper failed. Boiling water in beds. The paraffin heater. Portable warmth for desperate times. The smell was unmistakable, choking fumes that filled small rooms. Children grew dizzy, eyes watered. But it was heat. In the coldest weeks, families accepted the poison for the warmth. Paraffin was highly flammable. Spills caused fires. Heaters tipped over. Houses burned. People died. One museum now displays these heaters as historical curiosities. In the 1960s, they were necessities that could kill you in your sleep. The electric bar fire. One glowing orange element. Enough heat for a few feet in front. Beyond that, nothing. Electricity was expensive. The meter swallowed coins. Families rationed every minute of electric warmth. The outdoor toilet. Many homes had no indoor bathroom until the 1950s. In winter, the walk to the privy was torture. Sitting on frozen wood in the dark. Snow blowing through gaps in the door. Chamber pots under beds. The alternative to midnight walks through frozen gardens. Cold porcelain against warm skin. Every bedroom had one. Every morning, someone carried it downstairs, a daily ritual of quiet dignity and necessary shame. Back-to-back houses. Built for mill workers in the Victorian age, still occupied in the 1960s. Shared walls on three sides, no through ventilation. Damp crept through brickwork. Cold settled in bones. Thousands of families called these homes. Indoors, people dressed for winter. Cardigans over jumpers, jumpers over vests. Fingerless gloves to work in. You never removed your coat in the kitchen. The hallway was a wind tunnel. Only the fireside offered relief. Chilblains. Painful swelling of fingers and toes from repeated cold exposure. Every child knew them. Red, itching, burning when warmed. There was no cure except spring. Doctors saw hundreds of cases every winter. Cold homes caused real suffering. In kitchens, families opened the gas oven door. Free heat from cooking. Dangerous but common. Carbon monoxide poisoning was a silent killer. Ventilation was poor. Windows stayed shut against the cold. Warmth came with invisible risk. Heavy curtains were essential. Thick fabric lined with more fabric, drawn tight at dusk, keeping precious warmth inside. Every gap was an enemy. Newspaper stuffed under doors. Draft excluders sewn from old stockings. Siege warfare against winter. December 1952. The Great Smog descended on London. Coal smoke trapped by cold air. 4,000 people died in 4 days. Visibility dropped to zero. Hospitals overwhelmed. The price of keeping warm was death itself. The Clean Air Act of 1956 changed everything. Smokeless zones created across British cities. Coal fires banned in urban areas. Families had to adapt or face fines. The government forced a revolution in how Britain stayed warm. January 1963. The Big Freeze. The coldest winter since 1740. Average temperature minus 2.1 degrees. Snow fell from Boxing Day until March. Britain froze solid, and most homes had no central heating. Pipes burst across the nation. Water froze in taps. Ice formed on bedroom walls, not windows, walls. Families slept in living rooms around dying fires. The ground froze so hard, gravediggers could not bury the dead. September 1965. BP struck gas beneath the North Sea. Vast reserves of natural gas, enough to heat every home in Britain. This discovery would transform the nation. The age of coal was ending, the age of warmth beginning. The Great Conversion began. 40 million gas appliances changed from coal gas to natural gas. Workers visited every home in Britain, the largest peacetime logistical operation in British history. House by house, street by street. The future arrived. Gas central heating became affordable. Boilers replaced coal fires. Radiators appeared in hallways and bedrooms. For the first time, entire homes could be warm. Not one room, every room. The revolution spread across Britain. By 1970, 30% of British homes had central heating. Still a minority, but growing fast. Families who installed radiators discovered a different world. Children could do homework in bedrooms. Elderly grandparents survived winters. The cold that had shaped generations was finally retreating from British homes. Fireplaces were bricked up. The hearth that had warmed generations sealed forever. Some families felt grief. The fire had been the heart of every home. Now radiators hummed quietly in corners, efficient but soulless. Progress had a price. The gathering place was gone. Families scattered to separate rooms. With warmth came separation. When one room was warm, families stayed together. When every room was heated, everyone went their own way. Children to bedrooms, parents to the lounge. The cold had forced togetherness. Central heating allowed isolation. Some say Britain lost something in those comfortable, lonely rooms. By 1980, 55% of British homes had central heating. Children born in that decade never knew the old cold, never dressed under blankets, never saw ice on bedroom windows, never walked to frozen outside toilets. A different Britain, a warmer Britain, but also a Britain that had forgotten. These memories of cold Britain must not be forgotten. The ice on windows, the frozen walks to outdoor toilets, the one warm room. If you value documentaries preserving British history and the resilience of ordinary families, please subscribe to this channel. Press the bell icon, like and share. Help these stories endure. Today, 93% of British homes have central heating, a thermostat on the wall, warmth at the touch of a button. Young people cannot comprehend what came before. They ask their grandparents, hear the stories, shake their heads in disbelief. How did you survive? The answer is simple. We just did. Grandmothers show grandchildren the old stone pigs, the hot water bottles, the bed warmers. Children hold them like museum pieces. What is this? How did it work? The tools of survival have become curiosities. The knowledge of cold is passing away. Soon, only photographs will remain. Museums now display paraffin heaters, behind glass, with explanatory cards. Objects of historical interest. Once they sat in every bedroom across Britain. Millions of families depended on them. Now schoolchildren peer at them on field trips, ask questions, try to imagine the smell, the danger, the desperate need for warmth. Online, memories survive. Forums filled with recollections. I remember ice on the inside of the windows. I remember dressing under the blankets. I remember the paraffin smell. Thousands of voices, bearing witness, ensuring the cold is not forgotten. Digital archives of suffering and resilience. Britain's frozen past, preserved in pixels. Energy prices rise. Pensioners again face choices between heating and eating. The old cold returns for some. Those who remember the 1960s recognize it. The same calculations, the same fears, the same blankets. Progress is not permanent. Warmth, it turns out, was never guaranteed. History threatens to repeat itself. Two Britons, 60 years apart. One child sees breath in the bedroom air. The other has never felt cold indoors. Same houses, same streets, different worlds. The transformation happened within living memory. Those who endured the cold still walk among us. Their stories deserve to be heard. They did not complain. That generation accepted cold as part of life. It was simply normal. No self-pity, no outrage, just quiet endurance. Get on with it. Make do. Survive. This stoicism defined a generation. Forged in cold bedrooms, tempered by frozen mornings, hardened by winters without warmth. Now fireplaces return as decoration. Restored Victorian grates in renovated homes. Candles where coal once burned. Estate agents list original features as selling points. The fireplace that once meant survival is now a lifestyle choice, an aesthetic preference. Nostalgia stripped of necessity. The memory of cold becomes comfortable and cozy. Photographs survive. Frozen streets, ice-covered houses, families huddled by fires. Elderly hands hold these images. Remember when? The coldest winter, the warmest room, the hot water bottle that saved us. These photographs are evidence, proof that it happened. that ordinary people endured extraordinary conditions and survived them all. Pass the stories down. Tell the grandchildren. Show them the old photographs. Describe the ice on the windows, the walk to the outdoor toilet, the one warm room. Let them understand what came before. Let them appreciate what they have. Memory is a gift. Share it while you can. Coal bunkers stand empty now. Relics in back gardens. Weeds grow through the doors. No coalman walks these streets. No hundredweight sacks on blackened shoulders. The infrastructure of survival crumbles and disappears. In another generation, children will ask what they were for, and grandparents will struggle to explain. The old houses fall, back-to-backs demolished, Victorian terraces cleared for modern developments. With them go the cold bedrooms, the outdoor toilets, the single fireplaces, the architecture of endurance erased. New homes rise with central heating built in. No one will ever be cold in them. That is progress. That is loss. The last coal fire dies. Embers fade to grey. Ash cools in the grate. Somewhere in Britain, the final coal fire burns out. A way of life ends. Not with ceremony, not with farewell, just silence, and the quiet hum of a radiator taking over. The old warmth extinguished forever. At the window, an old woman watches snow fall. Her home is warm, the radiators hum. She remembers different winters, colder winters, harder winters. Her children will never understand. Her grandchildren cannot imagine. She survived it all, and now she watches the snow from the warmth, finally comfortable, finally warm. Ice on the inside of the window. Beautiful, deadly, forgotten. A whole generation of British children woke to this sight, traced patterns in the frost, dressed under blankets, ran to the one warm room. They survived, they endured, they built the warm Britain we inhabit today. Remember them, always.